All right, welcome back to PipeCast. On this episode, we'll be covering Captain Black, another edition of the Hodge Codge series. Let's take a look at that blend. All right, what we have here is Captain Black. Captain Black is made up of Burley, Bright Virginia, and Black Cavendish. And as you can tell, there's a pretty heavy portion of Black Cavendish. It's a very dark blend, and then there's little spots of the Burley poking through. Burley's probably the second most dominant, and then there's some golden Bright Virginia poking through here and there, but it looks like it's almost just here, just looking at it. Not any kind of smoking characteristics, but just looking at it, it looks like it's a 50-50 split between the Black Cavendish and the Burley. But just with a little bit, maybe it's 48-48, and then 4% is the Bright Virginia. But yeah, let's get over there and see how it smokes.
All right, well, that was a breakdown of the tobacco. So, Captain Black,
Yeah.
what do you think about it?
Well, similar to the other two that have been in the series so far, right? We've covered Sir Walter Raleigh and Carter Hall. I think these are definitely the probably the three most popular. I think we've said that before. Definitely Carter Hall and Captain Black are very popular and very sought after. Well, not sought after, but those are the ones people go to. But similar, the bag note is very very similar. Now, again, this is original, just making sure everybody knows. Because there was a little bit of question about the Sir Walter Raleigh that we smoked. Was it aromatic or regular? And it was regular. It was not aromatic. But so this is Captain Black original. But again, very similar to Sir Walter Raleigh and Carter Hall. Bag note is almost identical. I would say this probably has the best bag note. This has a really nice smell to it. Um, uh, like I kind of got excited because, and this probably gonna happen a lot because it smelled like Sir Walter Raleigh cranked up. And the first smoke, this isn't the first smoke with Captain Black. So the first one that I did, um, it I don't know what happened with it. I don't know if it started burning hot, but I don't know. It just had a feeling of it just started getting harsh. And towards the end, it started to smoke how I assumed all Hodge Codges were gonna smoke. Codger blends were gonna smoke. Very, very light and but very hot. And so I didn't really like it. Now I've had it a couple times since then, and that's gotten better. So maybe that was a one-off that it burned hot. Um, but I mean, it's very similar to Sir Walter. It's almost I really it's kind of getting hard to kind of figure this out because it's definitely better than Carter Hall. Um, but is it better than Sir Walter Raleigh? I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to smoke it a little bit longer. I still want to say Sir Walter Raleigh feels more well balanced, more well rounded for a codger blend. Um, but this one is pretty close. I don't, I don't know what they're using, what kind of flavoring that they're doing. I mean, all it says so it's Virginia's, Burley's, and Black Cavendish. Um, and so, and it says delightfully aromatic on the bag. So, I mean, I don't know what it's cased in or topped with, but it's got a really good flavor. Um, I just don't know if it lasts that long. I think that was one of the big things I enjoyed about Sir Walter Raleigh was that that flavor was present throughout the bowl, whereas Carter Hall that flavor kind of went away. Um, I think this one may have a better flavor than Sir Walter Raleigh, but it's going away. It's not as consistent. But like I said, I probably need to smoke it a little bit more. So I guess this might be kind of like a first impression because I haven't smoked it as much. I'm sure I don't know. I don't know if you've smoked it prior to us sitting down and doing this, or if this is your first time. I don't know.
I think Captain Black is like kind of the almost the initial flight of every pipe smoker that I've probably ever met, and I'm assuming it was probably the first or second thing I ever purchased as well. It's a little bit different because I smoked cigarettes, so I would hang around at tobacco shops, and every once in a while they would have just their own smorgasbord of stuff, but usually it was a makeup of Captain Black. So you'd have like Captain Black Cherry, and they'd have other things. So if you decided you wanted to jump into the pipe arena, you could. But I mean, it was like, you'd be lucky if you got a Missouri Meerschaum. Most everything was like a marijuana one hitter or something like that. They were selling paraphernalia, but to have pipe tobacco, and then some of those people would roll them as cigarettes. So I think Captain Black is kind of like the initial thing that most people buy, and yeah, it rings true. Like so, um, um, just just syrupy Cavendish is what I think of when I think of American aromatics. And here we are again with a sticky blend that um, it feels like they used kind of a licorice topping on it, but it's artificial, so it pushes it over into medicinal flavoring. So to me, this is like, what if you spilled Robitussin on Sir Walter Raleigh and it sort of turned, but like with Cavendish, the
Yeah.
Cavendish, if the Cavendish is not great. Um, I think that's where a lot of that medicinal souring note is from. I think this is just a weak treatment of tobacco to get a flavoring on it. Um, it's not after you smoke it, it's not like bad, which is kind of interesting. The aftertaste doesn't linger in a negative way, but I also don't like it. So, it's definitely what I consider to be like an American aromatic. This is the kind of stuff that I also found Cornell and Deal was dealing out back when they were, you know, I guess in their other shop. And this would have been when McClellan was around and stuff, those kinds of aromatics that were coming out of those shops were tasted a lot like this. Almost like they didn't know what they were doing. They just kept kind of spewing out this kind of syrupy mess. They would put a coating on it, and it was usually like cheap, or it tasted like cheap or low grade tobacco, or it was so syrupy that when the syrup or the sugar is caramelized or burned, it created like a sour, distinct note on the Cavendish.
Okay.
I'm really trashing this blend. I realize, I got but I don't like it, because it just doesn't remind me of good tobacco. But it's because the flavoring is so medicinal and it's soured. Then I just think it's just bad Cavendish. I think most Cavendish, the American Cavendish, is actually burley. Um, and typical Cavendish is a steamed Virginia,
Yeah. Yeah. The European.
or European.
Is
So
it also called brown? Maybe sometimes references brown cabinet.
yes, and then
Yeah.
then that's like sugared or done. There's some other stuff done to it.
Yeah.
And then if you try aromatics from like the Lakeland district, doesn't have to have like those floral essences, but those have a really good flavoring. And then the new stuff that Cornell and Deal's done, where they've kind of tried to not be so aggressive. I tell you what this reminds me of, and I'm already ready to get hung on a cross for this. But this reminds me of Autumn Evening by Cornell and Deal,
Oh yeah.
which I think it's got supposed to be maple syrupy kind of thing going on and some stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think it tastes like trash.
You gave me some. I haven't smoked it yet. So
Yeah. So I guess spoiler alert. I think we're going to be doing that, reviewing it. But like this reminds me of that a lot. But it's like once you go too syrupy or you're too heavy-handed with your flavoring, I think it actually turns the tobacco. I want something that complements, not something that overpowers it.
yeah, the only times. So I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of puts some things into perspective for me because the first tobacco I had was Blue Note, Dan Blue Note, which is a aromatic if I remember right.
Hmm.
and and then quickly, I went into all the other stuff, and really the first time I went back into aromatics was I bought Chody Boy from Boswell, and with it came um, I guess his in-house peaches and cream. And I
Mhm.
believe there's a old audio only, one of the first season or one of the episodes of our first season of PipeCast where I smoked it, and it was just tasted like flavored air,
Yeah, yeah.
and so that was my first like brick and mortar aromatic. And then the next time that I smoked something that was similar to brick and mortar aromatic was Balkan Sobrani, and um, then I guess that was it really. You know, I don't know who makes Balkan Sobrani, so it's some shoddy shop somewhere.
Well,
But
I think you navigated the waters extremely well to stay away from the kind of like the pitfall flavorings and the pitfall
yeah,
tobaccos.
yeah.
It's
Well, I
kind
had
of
you to guide me.
well, I don't want to take too much credit. I think you were capable of navigating the waters just fine too.
But but to kind of bring it back to the point I'm making, I guess about this is that um, this kind of makes sense now. That Captain Black is in that realm. Because I don't, like I said, I've only smoked them a handful of times. These kind of aromatic-y brick and mortar, uh, goopy kind of things, and so it makes a little bit more sense because Sir Walter Raleigh, I don't think Sir Walter Raleigh stayed away from this a little bit. Like and I think that's why I enjoy the bag note of this so much is because it is more heavily topped, probably, and
It's sweet smelling, dude. I mean, it smells good. Like, and no one who's being smoked around is going to complain.
and that's the thing. See, I love licorice, Hawkwind bean, any any flavoring like that. I um, I just love those kind of blends, and um, this is kind of right in there, and I think that's kind of why as I'm revisiting it a little bit more, I'm maybe wanting to like it more. But it's still that, it's still, as I'm sitting here, it doesn't have the body that Sir Walter Raleigh had. Um, the mouthfeel. This feels closer to that peaches and cream flavored air kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, but I really do think it's better than Captain Hall, Carter Hall, because at least that flavor is closer to Sir Walter Raleigh. The
Hmm.
tobaccos and everything may be better with Carter Hall, but I mean, if I'm gonna go out of my way to smoke a Codger, um, the then this might be a controversial statement. The quality of the tobacco I'm already expecting to be lower, and so if I'm going for an aromatic Codger type blend, I'm going for the flavor, not the quality of the tobacco. And so, whereas Sir Walter Raleigh, I think you get the best of both worlds. Carter Hall, you don't get the flavor, but Captain Black, you do. So I think I'd go Captain Black over Carter Hall, but they're still both inferior to Sir Walter Raleigh.
Well, also another thing too that I noticed is that Captain Black is so pungent that the flavor kind of sticks around for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, and this is called original. So like I'm curious like cherry and all those, you know, taste like.
Hmm.
I definitely think, we've kind of already planned out our year and our different codgers and whatnot, but we didn't make room for Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic, and I definitely think we might need to alter the schedule because I kind of want to try that now.
Well, we can get a hold of it and definitely just mix something in.
Yeah, and there's other stuff like I know Amphora's got a whole line of stuff. I mean, everybody's got a whole line of stuff. Amphora, Captain
Well, I
Black.
kind of want to do that Captain Black grape.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think it's safe to say we probably differ a little bit on which one's better, Carter Hall or this one. But we probably both agree that still Sir Walter Raleigh is the top of our ranks when it comes to the codgers.
So far, yeah. I mean, I don't think It's going to be really hard to dethrone because I know Scandinavian tobacco probably took care to make sure that the quality of the tobaccos were there, and it's not so overpoweringly aromatic that you have like a sickening sort of medicinal flavoring. Um, but at the same time, I will give Captain Black its due. The If you want something that's going to be last longer, I mean, I still taste the flavor throughout the bowl. It may be not as pungent as it is up front, but it is relatively consistent.
And to give it some credit, it is also an STG blend, um, where it says Scandinavian Tobacco Group Lane Limited. So um, I don't know about that, but I don't think Carter Hall was STG,
No.
but Sir Walter and this is. Yeah, I'm really excited to get into. I think I've said this before. The Amphora original is a little bit closer to like an English. Like it's got a lot more flavor. Like it's got a lot more components in it than the ones that we've been smoking so far.
Right.
Uh, but because most of them are burley based, um, with some Virginia or Black Cavendish to help. You know, so but yeah, I think you know not to. I know a lot of people like this blend a lot. Uh,
I think this
but
is something that maybe your granddaddy smoked,
yeah,
and more of a working like one of the things that's fun about doing the Codger blends is it definitely has a if it's over the counter, it's going to have a more blue collar sensibility to it.
yeah,
I don't want. I don't think I want like to see my blue collar pipe smokers smoking a Lakeland blend. I mean, I don't mind it. You can smoke whatever you want, but you know what I'm saying. Like if it's like, there's a kind of a mystique to the what I would consider the blue collar, the codger blending realm, and it's not, it's salt of the earth. It's not highfalutin, so to speak, and I think that quaintness comes across in Captain Black.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Whereas Carter Hall feels a little bit more. I wouldn't say mainstream, but it's just more there. And then where Sir Walter Raleigh feels a little bit more elevated, I guess. Um,
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good way to put it. I mean, they're all fine. Look, man, if you're in need of a smoke, you're probably not going to go wrong with picking up any of those three blends if you're needing it. But I mean, would I forgo it to wait a little bit longer to get something that I prefer? Probably, yeah.
yeah, probably. So, so yeah, another codger down, and like I don't know, 5, 6 more to go.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
got a quite a few, and then that's not even their variants.
yeah, yeah. Which maybe next year will be the 2024 will be the year of the codger variants. I don't know.
Yeah, who
Um,
knows?
but oh yeah, we didn't even mention. Yeah, we're still Skyping, Zooming, whatever. So
Yeah. So like, you know, it's like we were trading viruses there for a minute, and then, um, yeah, it's just been rough.
yeah, but we hope to be back in person soon. So um, but it seems like everybody, the comments that we have gotten so far, people are not too bothered by us not being in person. So that's
I
good.
think it
That's
probably
good to hear.
bothers us more. I would say.
Probably it is convenient though because we can kind of just come, just meet up and then take care of business. Normally, I think, and we've talked about this before, when we meet, we kind of like lay it out. We're like, we're going to hit 6 to 7, maybe even 8 blends in like a 5 hour period of time. And, we're not, we don't have a producer and editor. So we're kind of just
We're just kind of
pressing.
just going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're running and gunning. So yeah, it's, there's a little bit of convenience with this in more ways than one. So,
But
um,
we do like getting together, so I don't I don't want to crutch off this too much, obviously.
no, no, but yeah, so that's it. like I said, there'll probably be a couple more episodes like this one before we get back in person. But I
Yeah.
think we're about to take a dive into some Virginias before we hit Burley Boy Summer. So we're gonna kind of walk around in Virginia land for a little bit. So which are
Oh,
that's my favorite blends are Virginia, straight Virginias. So
West Virginia.
Mount your mama. All right, well, we hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next one.